Oh, wait, Will. Hey, everybody, and welcome to the PC Gamer Show. My name is Marks, Associate Editor here at PC Gamer, and your host, as usual. Joining me today is Mr. James Davenport. James,
hello.
How you doing?
I'm great.
You're great. You're wearing a very bright shirt today.
Tie-dyed with the blood of my enemies.
Oh, okay. So I was going to actually go into how you usually wear, like, dark shirts, and it's very sad. And,
Yeah,
and this
it says,
but no,
well,
blood of your enemies. Okay.
I mean, it says ready to die.
At the bottom. So
Wow.
It's very...
You're just a bucket of joy, aren't you?
Yeah.
Also joining us today is, over the internet, Mr. Chris Livingston. Chris, how you doing?
I'm doing great. Maybe not as great as James, but pretty great.
You were saying that it's no longer leaf blower season. It's now lawnmower season?
Actually, the leaf blowers were here today. Despite no leaves, they were just using them on dirt. So they were blowing dirt. But they went by earlier. Hopefully they're done.
That sounds like a racket. That sounds like someone is shysting someone else here.
Yeah, it's possible. I'll look into it. I'll let you know.
We got a good show for you guys today, though. We're happy to be back. We were off last week in live stream capacity. There was, for anybody who missed last week's show, we did an audio-only kind of shorter show just about Resident Evil 7. Yeah. We put that up on the site at peacegamer.com/podcast and on our iTunes page to you podcast listeners out there. Thank you very much to everyone who watches on YouTube or Twitch. Sorry we weren't able to be here live in person, but we didn't have time for a full show last week. But there is show to be had, and there's more show to be had today, so we're excited to jump into it. There's a lot of good topics we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about Conan Exiles, which is a early access survival game that came out yesterday. We're also going to be talking about the Marvel games that were announced, starting with, I think, Project Avengers Project?
Oh, boy.
That are going to be made by Square Enix.
Oh, I can't wait to talk about that.
Dude, I feel like you're trolling me here, James.
Well, we'll find out when we get to it.
I'm really excited about that, so if you are trolling me, then I'm just going to pretend you're not. Be like, yeah, everyone's excited about that. We're also really quickly going to talk about, right before our Now Playing section, the news about Oculus that just came out and the court case between them and ZeniMax. And, of course, we're going to be taking your questions from Twitch chat at the end of the show, so stick around if you have anything burning to ask us. But let's start the show. We're going to start the show like we usually do, but I do really quickly want to jump into this news because it happened in the last hour, right? So it's something that we just want to throw in there and talk about, which is this little bit of news. I'll post it in the
hot
chat.
Off the presses.
It is hot off the presses. There was, for those who don't know, a little backstory. ZeniMax was suing Oculus over, essentially they claimed that they stole trade secrets. They claimed that, oh my good gracious, I am blanking on the name right now.
Palmer?
John Carmack.
Okay.
Who worked at ZeniMax and worked for Bethesda, was working on, they're claiming that he was doing VR stuff there that he then brought to Oculus, essentially. And that the Oculus Rift wouldn't exist without him bringing those trade secrets along. And Oculus is saying, no, he did everything he did for Oculus with us, basically, and we did it ourselves and that sort of stuff. This court case went for about 3 weeks, and it actually just ended today. ZeniMax was asking for like $4 billion in damages, or it was like $2 billion in damages and $2 billion in something else.
Almost as much as my college debt.
Oh, that was a harsh joke.
Yep.
But court case ended. Oculus was found essentially that they did not steal trade secrets or share trade secrets. That was the big takeaway, in my opinion, is that the crux of what ZeniMax was saying was found to be not true.
Right.
But that Palmer Luckey did break a non-disclosure agreement that he signed prior to working with ZeniMax. Yeah. Which means that they are now, like, Oculus is, ZeniMax was awarded $500 million from Oculus, which of course is probably going to be contested and like held up in litigation for years or whatever. But,
probably.
But that's nuts, man.
It's chump change and
I guess
in
it
the
is.
business
Oculus
world.
is
No,
like
I don't know. That's crazy though. That I don't know, something's finally happening. I don't know. I didn't anticipate there actually being. I don't know. I've been following the case too closely because legal schmiegel.
Yeah.
But I was surprised that ZeniMax actually had something on Oculus, at least something. I mean, not all of it, not actual trade secrets, but
Is it just me or did this
disclosure?
It felt like this whole thing just went by really fast too. Because it was only it was like a 3-week trial, and like I'm just used to these things just kind of never actually getting to a court, I guess, and like suddenly they just disappear because they made a deal or something.
Yeah.
But, like it's kind of nuts that this just like happened very quickly. It feels like.
So do you think they'll do a sequel to The Social Network only about Oculus and Palmer Luckey instead? Or
I hope so. Who would play Palmer?
Who would we cast in a biopic about this?
I'm excited for like the his character development. And
Is it too mean to say Jonah Hill?
I was gonna say like Josh Gad.
Oh,
I
okay.
can see that. Yeah, that'd be good.
Jonah Hill's getting into serious stuff. You never know.
It's air quotes serious stuff. Yeah.
I don't know. They don't have a villain like the Winklevoss twins though.
Yeah, I took this off the rails. I apologize.
Yeah, you did.
But I don't know. Yeah, it's going to be interesting. I think right now all we're getting is what we have access to, and it's kind of interesting to watch this drama unfold, and I'm curious to see like how this will affect Oculus or production or what. I don't know if this is like a huge hit for them or not in the grand scheme of things. They got Facebook behind them, but more than anything, I'm curious to see like I don't know how many years it's going to take, but testimonies coming out from people about what really went down, and the books and the movies, and it's going to be an interesting story to pick apart in however many years it takes. But
yeah, well,
postmortem would be cool.
But let's, Chris, unless you had a last thought.
No, I was just going to say, a lot of hubbub for a headset that people will wear for 20 minutes and then put down and never use again. But that's just my personal take on VR in general.
Ooh.
Well, let's use that as a great segue to go into our now playing.
Yeah.
Because I actually have been playing a lot of VR lately. I brought an Oculus Rift and the Oculus Touch controllers home with me.
Exciting.
And Super Hot VR is the main thing I played. And Super Hot VR is like definitely one of the best things I've played in VR ever.
Yeah. I played a bit too. I'm with you, man.
That game just makes you feel like an action star. It's so cool. You're like dodging bullets and seeing the bullets go by you. And so, Chris, I played that for a whole 45 minutes to an hour before I beat the game, and then I didn't have to play it anymore.
Okay, well, then you doubled my expectations right there.
But no, I know what you mean. But like, it was disappointing actually a little bit that like even Super Hot VR, which is like the best thing I've played in VR, was like still just kind of this bite-sized thing,
Yeah. It's and if you've played the original Super Hot, it's kind of it's inherently restricting, or it feels restrictive that you can't move in these scenarios, and it's like. Sure, you're standing there, and how would you control it? And you would feel disconnected from your movement as opposed to everything else you do in the VR version. You're controlling directly, so it wouldn't mix. But it's kind of a bummer that you just have to stand there, and the action happens to you mostly. But it's still like a really cool thing to like turn around and like punch a dude in the face, and then toss a gun up in the air. Catch the gun he drops with your left hand, and then like swing around. There's a katana or whatever, and you can do it all in almost real time, or just sit there and plot it out. Like, am I gonna get this brick, or am I gonna what am I gonna do? So it's amazing.
I've been having my friends play it too,
Yeah.
and it's so funny to me to see how people will react to room scale VR for the first time.
Yeah.
Like I had one friend who would not take any steps. He was just planted, even though we had the Guardian system up at that point. And then I had another person who the Guardian system was down, so it wasn't like the Guardian system is this thing where when you get to the edges of your space, like it starts to warn you. And they looked at me and they were like, and so that wasn't up, and they were like, wait, can can I move to get to the guys? And I was like, yeah, you can move however you want. And she just took like 2 or 3 really fast steps forward and just punched straight. And I kid you not, came about 2 inches away from just putting her hand through my monitor. Like went over it just about 2 inches higher.
Yeah.
And it was stressful. Let me just put it that way. What have you guys been playing though? Anything interesting? I know we're going to talk about Conan, which both of you guys have been playing a bit.
Yeah.
So we can save that for that section. But is there anything else that you guys have been jumping into?
I got a big list I can go through. My list. Last week we talked a lot about Resident Evil 7, but I finished it up this last weekend. Are the lights flickering, or am I dying?
No, the lights flickered, yes.
As I started talking about the spooky game. But tailing off of the VR discussion, I borrowed the PlayStation VR in the office and tried that game out in VR, which I know it's not on PC, but it will be in a year. I wanted to see what it was like, and I wrote kind of a piece about why it's a shame that we can't play Resident Evil in VR right now. And it still is, especially after having finished the game. It definitely feels designed for virtual reality, or with it in mind, not like as a simple add-on or something you can do if you have it. It definitely feels like core to how that game was thought out. But that was a really cool game. Resident Evil feels like classic Resident Evil. It stops getting as scary as that first 2 hours or so, where you're encountering the family for the first time and running away from them in the house. You start facing more enemies that you are kind of a known quantity. You can kill them, and you can make them not a threat, as opposed to Jack and Marguerite, who are invincible until their specific end encounters, so to speak. But it stops being as spooky in that regard, but it's still like a really cool, atmospheric, beautiful, and it gets super cheesy near the end. Typical Resident Evil, which I really appreciate. I don't know if everyone will, but I was into it. I'm really pleased with that game, and I'm looking forward to the DLC that's coming out in a month on PC, which is also out on PlayStation right now because exclusivity deals, yada, yada, yada. I'm really pleased with it. We have some more going on up on that game today. Otherwise, besides Conan, which we're going to get to, I've dabbled in some Overwatch. Capture the Flag. What's it called?
Capture the
Rooster.
Capture the Rooster.
Yeah, I haven't sat down and played with a group, which I think is like super necessary to playing that mode. Because if you don't know this, the Capture the Rooster mode, flag, whatever, it's Capture the Flag. In Overwatch, you have to sit on the flag for like 3 seconds or something before you can capture it. And anytime you take damage, that timer resets. So you can't just like swoop in as Tracer and like get out. You can't do that. You need to clear the flag area of your opponents before even thinking about it, unless you're really sneaky. But so it requires like really coordinated team attacks and really thought out. That can kind of pivot and be defensive in a moment, and that kind of communication would take a really good team. So hopping in like in solo queue has just not been great so far.
But I feel a similar way about Overwatch in general.
In general, for sure. I think at least maybe by now, like it's sort of most people playing Overwatch sort of understand, at least in payload maps or whatever, the maps that the game launched with. Like they sort of know-ish what to do. It's not like all the time, but there's, if you're playing as Winston or whatever, you can sort of like read and understand what you're supposed to be doing at that point. But in Capture the Rooster, like it's kind of it's unknown. Not many people, or it hasn't been played as long or like hollowed out as much as the usual quick play maps and modes. But it's fun. It's Overwatch, and
I mean the last thing I want to do want to say on that is that. The Jeff Kaplan, the game director, did a developer diary kind of all about Capture the Flag, and he didn't say this explicitly, but the general theme of it was literally just, we didn't do this correctly, Like this is not good capture the flag, but it's supposed to be fun, not competitive. So just shut up and enjoy it. Right? Like, those are all my own words. He didn't say any of that. But like that was basically what like the message behind the read between the lines of it was like, this isn't perfect. It's not great capture the flag, but it is a lot of fun. So just have fun and then it's gonna be gone in a couple
I
weeks.
appreciate the arcade, is that what it's called now?
Yeah.
For that kind of stuff. Just throw spaghetti at the wall, even if it's not perfect, you can it's interesting to see like the Overwatch hero dynamics applied to different rules and different modes, because who knows, maybe it's not capture the flag, but something down the line might stick and be worth pursuing in a different way or more seriously. So yeah, Overwatch
it was going to be gone in a few weeks.
Yeah,
they're taking it away, the whole mode.
Yeah, it's one of those seasonal modes that comes along with the events. It's kind of like that snowball fight thing that happened, or like the Rocket League type thing they did originally.
So I don't know, it's kind of cool. But otherwise, that's really about it. Like I've been dabbling a bit more in Astroneer, like just to relax. Have you hopped back into that, Chris?
I went in a few times. I kind of stopped for a while, but we should definitely get some multiplayer going on that. Because it is enjoyable, kind of a chill out experience for the most part.
Yeah, it's really, really relaxing. And I feel like I've kind of reached the point where I've built and done everything that you can do in the crafting tree in the build that's available right now. But I don't know, it's still just pretty and calm and a nice kind of Zen garden experience. So I like that game a lot. Yeah, that's me.
What about you, Chris? What have you been playing lately besides Conan and its floppy dongs, as we'll get into?
We'll get into that, yeah. Another early access survival crafting game, Ark. You've probably heard of it. I've been thinking this whole time, because I've been playing it for a while now, and kind of like, I don't really consider myself an Ark player because I'll go in maybe half hour in the morning and putter around my little cabin I've built, or maybe an hour in the evening or something, just doing little projects, not doing anything major. But I looked at my Steam stats and I've got 136 hours in Ark now. So I'm going to have to say that, yeah, I'm probably an Ark player at this point.
What's your status?
But again, it's
like, what do you, like, where are you at? Because there's so many tiers in that game and, like, things you can pursue. Like, what's your MO at the moment? Like, what do you do?
Well, I started playing with a friend, invited me to a private server. There were only a few players. Nobody killed each other, so there's not any kind of PvP. And on that server, I set up. She had a base on. It's called Herbivore Island, I think is the unofficial name. It's a small island with dinosaurs that won't attack you unless you attack them first. So you can like catch your breath and do a little building and do a little exploring, but you have this safe area. But we recently switched over to a map called the Center, which is the other main Ark map, and we also started using Primitive Plus, which was a mod that was incorporated into the game as DLC, which has more of a emphasis on crafting. There's more complicated crafting. There's different tools. There's different workbenches, and there's no like high tech stuff. It's sort of like you don't have guns and things like that. It's all meant to be like a primitive society type thing. So on this server, I decided, well, I want to go and find a spot that's maybe not completely safe, like our first island. Find something where there's a little danger, maybe a little more excitement. So I was flying around on one of the giant birds I own, and I saw this lake. There's a little lake, and it was like kind of among some cliffs. There weren't really many ways to get to it on foot, so I thought, well, that looks like a nice spot. And I landed, and the only thing around there were these giant beavers, which is great because they won't attack you unless you attack them, and they also they spawn with these beaver dams, which are good for resources. I thought, okay, well, this is cool. This doesn't seem too deadly or dangerous. So I built a little house, and then the next day I came back, and there were like T-Rexes walking through there. There were bears. There were saber-toothed tigers. There were giant angry birds attacking, and like for like 2 weeks, it was just carnage every time I tried to work on my house. And like I would spawn in and like all my tame dinosaurs were dead because saber-tooths had run through and killed everything. And I like built like this fence and it kept getting smashed through by bears. And I was like, this is a nightmare. Like, this is not what I want. I want to build a house and like craft some stuff. But it has come down. Part of the problem was these cliffs, they're kind of like these really tall, rocky spires. And I kind of discovered eventually that there were dinosaurs spawning on top of them.
Oh, okay.
And then falling in because I built fences and a gate and everything.
Yeah.
But I would spawn in there, be like bears running around, or T-Rexes inside. I'm like, where are they coming from? How are they getting in?
So wait, I was gonna make the joke. I was gonna like literally joke and be like, what is it, like raining bears on that island? And it's literally raining bears.
Literally, yeah. And so what I had to do was take my bird up and fly to these cliffs, and like if you build something like a little foundation. Nothing will spawn within a certain radius of it, so I kind of had to put them all over these cliffs just because. And like, it's fine if dinosaurs want to legitimately break in, through the fence. That's okay. But I don't think it's fair that a T-Rex spawns on this tiny little, cliff and then just jumps in. That seems like bullshit to me. That's not fair. So. But it's been going pretty well, and I don't do much. I will come up with a little project. Like this week, I thought, you can craft a cup of coffee and you can craft a cigarette. And I thought, well, since that's how I live my life pretty much all the time with coffee and cigarettes, maybe I should try to craft that in the game, which doesn't sound like much, but you have to, you have to build a plot for the crop and you have to irrigate it. So you got to run pipes and water taps, and then you have to plant the crop and you have to fertilize it with dinosaur shit that you have to put into a compost bin with thatch to make the fertilizer. So it's like these little, it's just like, I think I kind of like that there's like 10 steps to getting this one little thing you want. And I like doing those steps. I don't know what that is. I don't know if that's playing a game or doing a to-do list, but I find it calming to go in for an hour and go, sorry, James.
Oh, I was going to say, what does coffee, what do they do to your character? Is there like a buff of some kind?
Yeah, I think it like, I don't know, it was probably a stamina increase or maybe a health boost. I'm sure the cigarette isn't a health boost, but it's something to, I think it maybe, or, I think it maybe staves off hunger a little bit or something.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
I didn't really care the stat. I was curious if there would be an animation for smoking.
Oh, there wasn't.
There?
Oh, what?
No, it just,
you're a cringe.
And I just wanted to come up with a little task to keep me busy for a couple days. So, but yeah, like that's what I do. I come up with a little project, or I see something I want to craft, or some specific dinosaur I want to tame, and I go and do that. Sometimes I'll log in and I'll just log out immediately. Yeah. Like I can't think of anything to do.
Well, that's sort of the beauty of that game, at least to me. Like as I kind of got to know it this year too. I don't think I've played nearly as much as you, but just the scope of resources and things you can craft and just do in these maps is you just kind of can carve out your own little way of enjoying it, whatever that may be. What if that's making coffee and cigarettes, and that's your goal? That's your goal, and I appreciate that. Or if it's like these hardcore role players who I know one guy built a shop on the back of a brontosaurus or something and sold items and went on he developed a trade route through the island, and
that's really cool.
Yeah, so I mean, it's I think Ark and games like this do get a lot of deserved criticism for being a little aimless, or it's unclear like when they're done and what they are, but as an assembly of all these just different systems and things you can do, I think they're pretty cool. I don't know.
I want to catch up on a couple Twitch subscribers.
We got some, huh?
DPM Cali subscribed for the first time. Scarfington and Chris86 both subscribed for 10 months in a row. Thank you very much. Varendil at 3 months. And then another new subscriber, CNote0824. Thank you, guys. We appreciate all of the support. That was a bunch that just rolled in.
Straight to my bank account.
Didn't want to miss them. Whoa.
Just kidding.
Whoa.
I don't get any of that.
The last two games, before we move on to Conan, the last two games I do want to highlight really fast that I've been playing.
Oh, yeah.
The two things I've been playing most, because I did play a lot of VR, but The two things that I've been playing most that I really want to highlight are a puzzle game that just came out yesterday called Line Light.
It's pretty.
Yeah, it's really pretty. It's really simple but engaging. It's great music. There's one world in the game that sounds kind of like KK Slider songs from Animal Crossing, if you know that. There's another one that kind of sounds like a Sims like build music. Like it's got a lot of really good music in it. Line Light, spelled like line, like a line. Not like the fruit, a lime. Although there is lots of lime light in it, so I should stop now.
Go. You're good.
The thing that really impressed me about that game, though, that I want to touch on is that there's a sequence at the end of every world. There's 6 worlds in the game, and there's a sequence at the end of each world where, they'll introduce a mechanic during the world, and then the last kind of quarter of the world is this very fast-paced section of puzzles where you're actually working with a unit that's an enemy, like a little dash of light that would kill you otherwise. And you kind of have to dance around it and like get ahead of it at points and then behind it at points, and you can't control it. It's just following whatever its programming is. And you got to like guide it through these paths, and it's like it's a weirdly intimate interaction with an NPC, and it's just a dash of light. But it's like actually like you get really connected to this NPC, and then at the end of the section when it diverges off and just kind of goes away into some little corner, like goes off the screen, like I kind of missed it. Like it's like a weird thing that I haven't seen in a puzzle game like that.
That's tragic.
The other game that I've been playing a ton of that I wanted to highlight was Tales of Berseria.
Oh, you've been playing more?
I have been playing more.
Okay. For people who don't know, what is this?
Tales of Berseria is a JRPG in the Tales series, like Symphonia and Zestiria. Zestiria, I think, was the first one in the series to come to PC, and then Symphonia got a port. And then Berseria just came out last week. And I'm a huge fan of Tales of Symphonia. I didn't actually get to play Zestiria yet, but Berseria is like... I'm enjoying it a lot, but it's also like not quite as much as I'd hoped.
Okay. Why?
It's a little hot topic.
Yeah, I was gonna say is that the main, because it's werewolves and vampires and such.
Yeah, no, not vampires.
No vampires.
Like demons is the way they put it, and you get turned into a demon. And
do the demons have hair covering one eye?
No, what? Oh, yes, one of them does.
Okay, that's
yes, one of them does. What? Wait, what?
I don't know. It's just like an
trope?
Emotional. Yeah, it's
yes,
like some
there is
dark
a demon on your team that covers hair with one eye.
Okay.
Yeah. It's really fun. The combo system and the combat system is like hella deep. It's like really
cool.
engaging.
That's exciting.
Like the way it works is like every button, because I play with controller because it's like built for a controller.
Yeah.
So like A, B, X, Y do a different attack. You can assign a different attack, a different move to A, B, X, Y, and then you can assign different moves to A, B, X, Y depending on if you use them in the first, second, third, or fourth slot of your combo. So there's technically 16 different buttons you can or moves you can map to these 4 buttons depending on what order you combo them in, and you get to build your own combos. So it's really in depth that way, but like the environments just feel super empty, and it's really hard to take seriously when they're like these very, very scantily clad women like that I have put like a pirate hat and like a eye patch on in the customization stuff.
Of
like
course.
Talking about like how like deep and dark they are, and like it's just so it's a little bit too much for me. And I get into JRPG and melodrama, but this is like a little too much for me.
I mean, if you're gonna be playing it anyway, is the port okay? Is the
quality? Oh yeah, port's great. That's a nice thing I noticed too. Is like it runs fine. Like I haven't noticed anything wrong with it. I'm running it on a 970 streamed over a Steam Link, and like I haven't had any performance issues that I've seen. It's great to see that.
Cool. Tom loves the werewolves.
I mean, they're not like the dark part isn't even like the worst part to me. It's just like very, I don't know what it is. It's just a little bit too much for me. And that's a personal thing. I'm sure there are people that are going to be into it.
You heard it here first. Tom's a tough guy. Big tough guy.
Damn it, James.
Doesn't have any emotions.
Speaking of big tough guys, let's talk about a big tough guy.
Oh, tough.
Tell me about Conan Exiles, guys.
Well, it's a survival crafting game. It's in early access, and I would say it is definitely very early access.
Yeah.
It's been kind of difficult to really get into in part because I have a lot of troubles either getting on a server at all. Especially have troubles getting back on the server I was on and my character was on.
Same here. Twice.
So I'll make a little progress and then I'll try to come back later and I can't find the server I was on, or it's not there, or it's not on the list, or I can't find it in the filter, or the filter's not working. And then it's like, I guess, do I want to start over? Not that I got very far, but do I really want to start over from scratch again? So even just kind of getting in there to check out the game has been, I would say, kind of a pain in the butt.
Yeah, I agree.
You've been finding the same?
Yeah, and I mean it's especially a shame because the beginning of the game, it kind of opens. Well, it opens in an interesting way, at least a way I thought I was going to be doing something different or experiencing new systems, because you open like literally like the character customization opens with you on a crucifix and your character's dangling there and
in more ways than one.
Yeah, okay, that's the big thing. We'll get to that in a minute, I guess. But you customize your character, and then I think Conan comes and like takes you off the cross, I guess, and says, "Go do something," and then you walk through this desert on this old road, and you see like the ruins of civilization around you, and you get some cool thematic VO, and then the very first thing you do after getting to the end of the road is chop down like 100 trees and pick up, pick
up rocks and pick up
rocks,
branches, and gather fiber, plant fiber.
Yeah.
It is very, very standard survival crafting stuff we're doing.
James, you played it for like an hour in the office and literally just said when we asked you how it was, it's Ark. Has that changed?
I can't like. I haven't played the end game of Ark, and I have not played the end game of Conan.
Gotcha.
But I don't know, Chris. You're pretty intimately familiar with Ark, so the first impression I got was like, yeah, this is definitely trying to do the Ark thing in terms of I don't know, just the way crafting and character progression and even the menus sort of are laid out. Maybe not exactly, but it feels a lot like Ark. There's even like a thrall system where you can basically in Ark you tame dinosaurs, and in this one I think the thrall system you take over like other people and monsters and stuff like that in a similar way.
Yeah, you can have minions.
Yeah.
It definitely feels sort of in the vein of Ark. I haven't seen much to really differentiate it from it, I guess. I would agree. It does seem to be trying to capture that same, at least the very early system. But then, I mean, a lot of the survival crafting games feel that same way.
Yeah.
You're naked, you got nothing, pick up a stick, put a rock on it, now you have an axe, pick up another rock and some flint. And
I think the biggest, Tom, I don't know how familiar you are with survival games, but the campfire, to build a campfire it's offensive. The cost.
Yeah, the standard playing on a server that hasn't juked the crafting requirements.
Yeah.
To build a campfire, just a small campfire so you can cook and get some warmth, it's 50 branches and 30 rocks. Now, that wouldn't probably be a big deal if you could if you had an axe and you could chop a tree into 50 branches, but you have to pick up these branches. I think when you hit a tree with an axe, you get one branch and like a bunch of logs. But typically you have to actually walk around picking up 50 branches to make the starter thing, which is a campfire.
Yeah.
The logs don't burn?
That's the
You
thing.
can use the logs as fuel, but you can't use them. As far as I could tell, you can't use the logs to craft the campfire. You can put the logs in the campfire to use as fuel.
Yeah.
But to craft the campfire, you need sticks, which are different than logs. But that's with the standard setting. Like I got frustrated because I couldn't get back on the server I'd been on, so I started my own server. And the first thing I did was go through the server settings and be like, I'm gonna change the multipliers on some of these crafting requirements, so it doesn't. So when instead of picking up one stick, you pick up like 5 at a time, just to try to get through that shit a bit faster because, like, I think the game. I mean, this is Conan's world. It should be challenging. It should be difficult and harsh, but making you pick up 50 sticks for a campfire is boring. It's not harsh. It's just annoying. So, I think if you're looking to play and are looking for a server, look for one that's maybe turn the multipliers up for that kind of stuff.
Coffee Dog Game says, and you need to learn how to build a campfire.
Yeah, you got to level up.
Yeah, when you level, you can learn recipes. It's Ark has the engram system where when you level up, you get points and you can unlock recipes. And this is, like James said, it is kind of the same type of system.
Chris, so you turned up, or you found a server where you turned up some of that, the crafting requirements and so on. How far did you end up kind of getting into the progression of the game? Like, what's the furthest point you've reached?
I still didn't get very far. The combat is tough. Like, I made a crude sword, but the weapon degradation is really severe. In one fight, one fight took my sword down almost till it was broken, and that was maybe 5 or 6 swings on whatever I was fighting. It's the same kind of thing. It feels overly harsh. The default setting for that stuff, and like in Ark, your stuff degrades, and I think that's not bad. Like I do enjoy kind of that mechanic of having to take care of your gear. But I was like, it was one fight with one creature, and my sword was basically broken.
Yeah.
So
I got to a point where I was building shields, and it took a long time to find the resources and sort of get a chain of supply going to be able to build that stuff. And I got into a fight. I was like, all right, I'm going to test this out on these turtles. They look pretty intimidating, and maybe they're a good source of meat and bone because I wanted to build this sacrificial pit. And one hit from this turtle destroyed my shield every time. And it's just like, I was like, what the fuck are you doing? Early access, I get it, but I mean,
does this feel like the kind of stuff that can be tweaked? Is this?
Oh yeah, for sure. I'm sure there's like a balance. Like, just don't turn down the default requirement from 50 logs or to like 10 logs, or let me use logs also, or instead of branches, let me use logs also. I don't know. There's a lot. It's early access, so sure, there's a balance that can be found. It's just some of the decisions are pretty egregiously off to me. I don't know.
Yeah, I feel kind of the same way. I would say, try to find a server that has changed the settings a bit, because you can change all that stuff in the server settings, which is great, so people can find a place that they like the balance of between challenging and, exhausting, and, find the sweet spot for that kind of thing.
There were a couple people commenting in the chat right now that are saying that, like, it's the type of game, and survival games in general, the type of game that kind of get a bad rap but are better with friends. Have you guys tried it multiplayer? Is it any better that way?
I think I can't confirm this, but if you play with friends, I think it does the same thing in Ark, where you get you join a clan and you get like an XP bonus, and inherently, like with multiple people working towards the same goal or similar supporting goals, you can gather things quicker and defend yourself easier. Like, of course, it's going to be better with friends, but yeah, I haven't really had a chance.
We were trying to get together yesterday,
that's the thing.
And we couldn't get on the same server. And then I think maybe Tyler was trying to get in, and his server was timing out. There's a lot of lag and rubber banding too. It feels like a rough situation. I mean, it's early access. It's to be expected, and presumably things will get better. I don't know. I'm not really feeling it as a game so far. Usually, even in really rough, well, not usually, sometimes in games that are very early access, you can still kind of see the one thing it does that maybe excites you or says, oh, that could be really great right now. Maybe it's just that I haven't progressed far enough to see it. But I'm just like, I'm not really loving it.
There's I'm super intrigued by it, because I mean, if you look at the trailer on Steam or wherever, some of the end game presumably later game stuff it shows, like has all these giant mythical creatures and big villages and these really cool fantasy scenarios. Like, look at this giant Cthulhu sand monster and this huge marble statue. Like, I've seen nothing in that regard in this game so far. It's like what felt like an intriguing fantasy world. It has just so far, at least like in the 3 hours I put in. Look at that giant fucking snake. It's just been like kind of run-of-the-mill survival game stuff. So I don't know.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, the map is huge, and that's what I really want to do is explore.
Same.
It's just for right now, I've just had my head down in the dirt, picking up sticks and rocks, and I'm hoping. I would like to keep trying and get to the point where I can, really do some exploring and see what else is out there. Because right now it just feels like kind of like a basic crafting survival experience without too much else that's really exciting me, except for all the dick physics.
Yeah.
Which we should probably, I guess, talk about.
I'd rather acknowledge than talk about, but
what is there to say other than
it's probably people have heard about this, but yeah, there are what's a good word? Excessive detail? There's excessive detail.
Well, perhaps, but I don't know. That's what the human body might look like and behave like in a simulated world.
So the thing we're dancing around right now is that Conan has an endowment slider. Is that it in the character creation?
Yeah, in character creation, the default setting is not nude. If you're playing a male character, you've got a loincloth. You're playing a female character, you have a loincloth and a top. You can do partial, which takes the tops off, but keeps the loincloths. And then you can do full nudity, which if you're playing a male character, you've got a dick and you got balls, and you can adjust the size of not the balls but the dick. You can make it big or small or medium. And when you play, your dick and balls have physics. And so, I don't know, my first 25 minutes, I was just jumping up and down.
Yeah.
Watching my dick and balls bounce around from every angle I could. There's a vanity camera feature, so you can untether the camera and see yourself from all different angles. So that was my first. My character almost died from dehydration because I was just standing in the desert, like jumping and squatting and turning and running and stopping. I'm like, wow, they really put dick physics and balls physics. So that's in there.
Oh my god! How much of that? So this is like, I know that the Conan lore. I'm not up to like snuff on my Conan lore, but I know that the Conan world is like very mature and very graphic and very violent. And like, how much of this feels like it's part of trying to be that world, and how much of it just feels like they added it so that Twitch streamers would go look at the dick and ball physics in this game? Maybe that's a hard thing to presume.
Yeah, hard to say. I don't know. I think why not? Why not have testicles and dongs?
Yeah, I mean, you're in a ridiculous survival scenario anyway. I mean, we've been like egregiously adding physics, dumb, wild physics to breasts for about the better part of 2 decades now. So it's about time. I'm just saying, it's about time.
Okay.
I hope they have statistics. Yeah. I hope they have a statistics system to see the how many players don't set the dick meter to biggest. Like, does anyone? I think a lot of people probably put it to smallest just to have a tiny dick and micro penis thing just for goofs. But like, are there players who don't immediately just like crank it up to the longest it can be?
Yeah, there's no middle ground. There's nobody like all the other sliders. You can be like, I think right about there is right, but there's nobody in the middle of the penis slider being like, yeah, maybe a little longer. I'm not sure. Like, one end or the other on that slider. Everyone knows it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I've covered this dong situation on PC Gamer a couple times. There's now a song. There's a song that an internet musician and animator created just for the Weeble. So you can find that on our site. Hopefully Tom is pasting in the links, unless he's worried about
No, I
offended
have
you?
no fear. For those of you watching
Okay.
on YouTube or listening on the podcast, you can always go to pcgamer.com/Conan-Exiles. That's plural. And that's all of our coverage. So you can very easily spot which one is about the Dong songs and that sort of thing on that page. The last thing I want to actually bring up with Conan Exiles, though, is related to dongs, which is like kind of how it relates to Twitch. Because it seems surprising to me that this game is like it's been one of the most streamed things since it came out, and I think part of that is because the bigger, more well-known, popular variety streamers like people like Carnage and Lyric and people like that have been streaming it. So they bring the hordes of their fans with them. But it's been in the top like 5 pretty consistently this week, and it's extremely graphic. And I'm not like advocating for censorship, shut it down. It's just like funny. We were talking earlier today. It's funny that a game like Genital Jousting, which is like cartoon penises, is like banned, and then there's this, which is like as realistic as they could. Like they put effort in making it like realistic, and that's kind of okay.
Yeah. I'm definitely going to paraphrase the guidelines that the official guidelines Twitch has. But it's something along the lines of as long as if the game contains nudity, but it is not the central like focus of the game, then it's generally okay. And it's as long as the streamer is not making it the focus of the stream, it's also okay.
I guarantee some streamers are making it the focus.
I
of
guarantee.
The
I
stream.
100% agree.
If I were a streamer, I would have had like a 12-hour just dong watching session.
And I mean, I can't like speak to how well or if it's being enforced in that way, but it to me it's an inconsistency. That's something as pretty positive and silly and colorful as Genital Jousting can just be like told no, and put behind just a brick wall. And this, which is, like you said, pretty graphic and out there, especially when you start doing some squats. Or if you see, I posted this clip from the game. I don't know who was streaming, but it was so bizarre. 2 nude women were slashing this nude man.
In Conan.
In Conan, yeah. Excuse me. And of course their breast sliders were all the way up. And his top, his like torso exploded into a fountain of blood, and his floppy little penis and legs fell over in this like really comic, weird way, and just were doused red. And to see that kind of thing, like, sure, it maybe was not the thing the streamer was focusing on, but to have that, 2-minute long clip repeated over the, however many people are streaming this game, and however many times something like that happens over the stream, it kind of destroys the distinction between making something the focus of your stream versus it, having graphic content like that. I mean, where's the line here?
I'm really glad that we're having this conversation while Chris is like taking off his jacket.
He's getting hot there,
just like slowly stripping down to make a point.
But yeah, I mean, to me that it's just it's bizarre, and I don't doubt that Twitch is aware, and they're like, there's got to be some kind of adult.
Well, the other part of that is that it's Twitch's house.
It is Twitch's house, right?
It's like Twitch's house. They get to make the rules, and if they don't want one thing on and they do want the other thing on, like they're not censoring really anybody. They're like just making their own rules.
Yes.
And like no one can you can disagree with their decisions, but you can't say that they're like specifically like wrong or censoring,
speech,
right?
yeah.
Like it's their choice. But it is like it's one that is confusing,
especially with this game. It's in other games it's maybe not as pronounced an issue, but because this game, like whether or not you think it's part of a marketing scheme to have these big floppy penises in there, it feels, it would be nicer to have like a clearer line in the sand, but we'll see.
Yeah, I it's just a weird thing to me, and like I'm fine with it existing. I guess I'm fine with it being streamed. It's just like the whole part of it is just like I really wonder, and this is something I'm not going to speculate on, but I really wonder if the devs knew or tried to make it or were completely caught off guard by the fact that the entire conversation about Conan Exiles on day one was, hey, penises.
Oh, they had to know, right?
I
They Trojan horsed it. They were like, yeah, I'm telling you.
The Trojan dong.
They had to know the power of it at least, even if it wasn't like part of a big marketing plan or I don't know if it's so much power. Like so much power.
It is.
Yeah, I'm sure they had meetings about and progress reports on like how's the ball physics going, that kind of thing.
You get that ball physics report on my desk by the end of the day.
That was someone's job. That was someone's job.
There's a giant spreadsheet somewhere. Just a giant spreadsheet full of calculations and percentages, and it's exactly what you think it's for.
Oh God.
Anyway.
Okay, let's move on from Conan Exiles. Once again, you can find all our coverage of that game at pcgamer.com/Conan-Exiles. But let's talk about these Marvel games that were announced because it's exciting stuff. You're not excited for this?
I'm just gonna. I gotta play opposite you. I don't know, Chris. How do you feel about Marvel? Well, first let's give us the rundown. What the hell?
James, deep breath.
Okay.
You good?
Okay.
All right. So, the news on Marvel is that Square Enix announced that they would be making not one, but some series of games, starting with the game currently known right now as Avengers Project, that are going to be from the Crystal Dynamics team, the people who made Deus Ex and Tomb Raider.
Make good games.
Yeah. The Tomb Raider series, the Deus Ex series. They're going to be making Marvel games, like AAA, big ol' Square Enix Marvel games. We don't really know much more about them, but I think that's super exciting. We haven't seen a Marvel game
There's
done
a real
like that
short
in a while.
teaser. Do we know? Is this like canon? Are these canon or are these just like licensed games, like cinematic universe canon?
Canon to cinematic universe.
Do we know?
I don't think they announced specifically. Something that's important to know is that the Marvel Cinematic Universe, Marvel didn't sell off their rights, their game rights, which is why a game like Marvel Heroes 2016, that kind of free-to-play Diablo-like game, it's a game, which is why Marvel Heroes can have Spider-Man and the X-Men and Iron Man and the Fantastic Four, which are all owned by different studios in the cinematic universe, can all be in one game in Marvel Heroes. So this looks like, from this little teaser, looks like it's going towards the direction of the cinematic universe because they only showed things like character equipment, like Thor's hammer and the shield and Iron Man. So it looks like it's leaning that way, but there is nothing, at least games license-wise, in precedent to say that they can't just have also the X-Men in there or also whoever.
Okay.
We don't know is the way shorter way to say that. But I'm flipping excited about this,
Why?
man. Why? Because it's like, don't you want like a really high quality to the level of Tomb Raider third-person action game where you are flying around as Iron Man or like beating people up as Captain America? Like that's
You
exciting.
do those things in Grand Theft Auto with mods.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Although the problem is there's really no bad guys, just innocent civilians, but it feels the same.
Yeah, I guess there is like an Iron Man mod and a Hulk mod and
Yeah.
wow. I just
Yeah.
got shut up.
No, I would say like I don't know, without knowing exactly what it is, and even though I've personally gotten a bit worn out by everything being superheroes all the time, movies wise anyway. I'm excited. Like those GTA mods, they're fun. It's fun being Iron Man. It's fun being the Hulk. It's fun to do that kind of stuff. So I'm curious to see what it actually is going to be.
Yeah, and that's I guess a big part of it is we don't really know yet. The only clue, because somebody in the chat just said, or Dockerock just said, it's clearly going to be a hero-based game, which I assume means like hero in the way that Overwatch is hero-based or League of Legends is hero-based. But I don't think we know that for sure. The only kind of indication that we've gotten about what type of game it'll be is the fact that the studio behind it made Deus Ex and Tomb Raider.
Is it okay? To clarify, is it one game or a series of games that they are planning on making?
Avengers Project is a game that they have announced, but they said that it is a multi-game partnership leading with the Avengers Project.
Okay. All right.
So they have partnered to do many games, but this first one is specifically this kind of Avengers thing.
I just so people don't think I'm a total grump. Well, this won't help at all. But I'm just like pre-exhausted by the endless stream of takes and essays on how superhero X and Y are interpreted this time, and what it says about their character, and what it says about their morality, and like I don't know. I just like it's fucking Iron Man. Like he flies around, and he just shoots stuff. If it's a good game, I'll be excited and happy. But I am just pre-exhausted. Like I don't know. Superheroes as like the cultural fulcrum for how we for like the crux and the majority of what we talk about when we talk about game design and movies and storytelling in general. It's just like it's so exhausting to me that I'm having a hard time feeling enthusiasm. My gas tank's a bit low on that kind of media. So
Tegul in the chat says, for what the trailer actually is, you guys are riding the hype train and assuming too much. I want to point out, I'm riding the hype train and assuming
listen to
too
me.
much.
Like, come on.
James is totally down to earth about this.
I have faith in that developer that they will make something enjoyable and pretty.
Right, and the other side of this is what Apollo Dingo said, which is I'd rather play a new Deus Ex or Tomb Raider.
Absolutely.
And
I think that's why I'm a bit sad.
Yeah, and the news that came out after this announcement was that probably we weren't going to get a new Deus Ex game anytime soon because they're going to be working on this instead.
Yeah, instead of like rendering goatees, with individual hair follicles, we're going to get some ugly ass interpretation that sort of looks like Chris Evans if you squint. Like, I guess it's him. Yep. Like, and he's I don't know. Like, it just feels like talent wasted to me.
Wow, man.
I gotta stop talking.
Well, did either of you guys beat the newest Deus Ex, Mankind Divided?
Yeah.
I did not. I didn't even start it.
Okay. It didn't hold my attention too much. So, like, what's the case? Build me a case of why Deus Ex deserves a sequel rather than this.
You need more patience and perspective. Actually, no, I'm sort of with you. Like, I think Deus Ex was sort of reaching the end of its current forms, like rope, like crawling through like moving giant vending machines to crawl through conveniently placed vents is sort of like video game design a little too close to the surface, especially for a game that like is as pretty and nuanced in other ways. But I don't know. Like, I'd rather them revisit that and see what does Deus Ex look like in 3 years? I don't know. That's a more interesting question to me than here's Captain America punching goons again, like, but in HD and like on a computer. Cool, I guess.
See,
I don't know.
That sold me. You just sold me.
But I'm talking about like you can only have one, Tom. You can only have one. What do you choose?
Goons.
God.
You're so upset. I'm so sorry.
It's okay. Just anyone else. Pick a different developer. Anyone. Just don't take Deus Ex away from me.
Oh, that got sad. That got really sad.
It's okay.
I don't know. I remember back to the days of like the old Spider-Man games, the open world Spider-Man games.
Spider-Man 2 is legit pretty good.
Yeah, and like I'd like something like that, but with the other heroes, And like, there's a chance that I'm even totally like, because we are speculating still. There is a chance that we are like that's not what this game is going to be, because the trailer is all about like the Avengers, you know, like this little teaser trailer was like all the Avengers were defeated, and it's like it's time to reassemble, and like maybe they're new heroes.
Oh, you're gonna customize a character.
Like maybe there's custom characters. Yeah, I'm not saying that's for sure, but like that, you know, this could be going a direction that's literally not even.
If that's it, if
that.
you're like making, if they could make like a really cool like systems heavy superhero game where you spec out a character and you get to kind of choose your moral impetus, and you get to choose your powers and build them out in interesting. I mean, there's room for it to be a creative effort. I just like don't want another iteration of superhero X or Y out there because there's so many, and like you could put, I don't know.
What if they didn't like make a bad render of Chris Evans? What if they did what like Star Citizen is doing with Mark Hamill and like got Chris Evans?
Chris Evans
mocap?
looks like a bad render of Chris Evans in real life.
Holy shit!
It's not a diss. He just looks false. He looks like an imposter.
What does that even mean?
I don't know.
Wow.
There's something going on there.
Which superhero hurt you, James?
James just shooting shots fired.
Andrew
in
Garfield's
every direction.
Spider-Man got me deep, cut me deep.
That hurt you
Yeah, it was bad.
more than like end of the movie Tobey Maguire Spider-Man.
I mean, that was awful, but I mean, like Andrew Garfield was just so nothing. Just let's not go down this route right now. I can't fucking do it.
James, just focus on the puppy that was on the screen.
Hey, Hank.
Yeah, Andrew Garfield, I think he mistook wise ass for asshole.
Yeah.
Like, it's not. He was just an asshole. Like, wow, I don't like this guy.
He was awful.
I thought Tobey Maguire was great.
Same.
At least in the first movie.
There's been a disproportionate amount of movie talk on this episode of the PC Gamer Show. It's been
Projector camera gamer.
What?
I'm trying to think of a movie.
Oh, for
acronym.
PC.
Yeah.
No. They're only insults. They can only
Proper cinema gamer.
I mean, I'll give that one to you.
Okay, that's a little better. Projector camera.
Projector camera cinema. Okay.
I'm done.
But I think haters be gonna hate. I think the idea of a studio as good as Crystal Dynamics getting the Marvel license is exciting as hell to me. And
Yeah.
I just wanna see what they do. You know,
The more
I wanna
good
know
games
more.
in the world, the better. I just hope, that's the
Although
case.
it's not gonna be for a while, right? It's like 2018. It's gonna be a ways off.
Yeah, I'll be dead by then.
Jeez, oh my God, James, you are so like, this is ridiculous. James is
Very
a little
dark.
He's a little hot topic this episode. This is like you've been playing too much Tales of Berseria, man.
Yeah.
Tell you what. Let's on that incredibly happy note, just like a ray of sunshine and positivity streaming from the man sitting next to me. Let's open it up to Twitch chat. Let's do an extended Twitch chat Q&A today. And ask you guys what you would like to know about in PC gaming this week. Ask us anything you want. Marvel, what else did we talk about? Conan penises. Not Conan penises.
Yes.
Oculus stuff. Jules cheered 69 bits and just said more dongs at some point during that conversation.
Did he top? I had top cheer for a while,
Yeah,
but
he
he beat
topped
me.
you.
Dang it.
I'm sorry.
All right. It was worth it. Nice.
Apollo Dingo says James is sad because Dark Souls 3 is coming. You mean the DLC?
Oh, the final DLC.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's coming to an end, man.
Yep. The end is near. And what other games are there after Souls? I don't know. None.
Oh, yeah. Will is pointing out that I didn't actually finish what I was saying. Tag us with @PCGamer in the Twitch chat if you want to ask us questions. We will answer those questions. Subscribers, obviously, we're going to jump to first because we love your support and we appreciate it always. For those watching on youtube.com/PCGamer or at PCGamer.com/podcast or on iTunes or wherever, you can always join us, twitch.tv/PCGamer. We usually get to the questionnaire Wednesdays. Every Wednesday, it's right about 2 to 2:15. We jump into the Q&A, and you can, at Pacific time, come join us live, ask your questions. Yeah. Alrighty. B Scappa asks, a subscriber asks, any interesting takes on the CSGO major and its impact on esports in general? So the E-League CSGO major was, oh goodness, was it this past weekend? It must have been. Maybe it was the weekend before. I can't remember now. I'm losing track of time. But very recently, And I thought it was a great tournament. I mean, I don't know if you guys. Oh my God, Hank licking your face is just so funny. He's such a cute dog, man.
Beautiful specimen.
He's a cutie.
Anyway, I don't know if you guys watched it, but I thought it was a really, really fun tournament. I'm not sure what its impact on esports is in general, but what I would say is this tournament, the grand finals of this tournament broke the all-time concurrent record for Twitch for a single Twitch
that's
channel.
significant. I mean, yeah, that's good.
Probably not like League of Legends World Championships probably had more concurrent viewers.
Sure.
But it was the first time a Twitch channel had ever broken 1 million viewers at a time. Yeah.
All right.
And so the grand finals, the last record was like 890,000, and the grand finals of this major actually got over 1 million people in a single stream.
I mean, yeah.
It was interesting. I think the most interesting thing it had an impact in my mind on esports is that to give you guys some history, the team that won, Astralis, was kind of like had been the underdogs for a little bit. And one of the interesting things is they'd made it to like semis in majors like a lot, and they'd never won a major before.
Oh, cool.
And this time they apparently hired a sports psychologist to like work with the team in high pressure situations. So they hired someone specifically to help them keep their cool and kind of get into a psychological mindset for competition in those exact situations.
Wow.
And then they pulled out like a come from behind victory and won the whole tournament. It was really cool, and I'm interested to see if that's going to shape how esports teams go forward with like, are they going to start borrowing more and more of that stuff from traditional sports? It'll be interesting to see if that's a takeaway from that. Another question from Verendil. If you guys could commission a game based on any existing TV show / movie, what would it be and what genres? For the sake of argument, we'll assume that it's good enough to get a 90+ review from PC Gamers. So, like, if it's just going to be good is the implications of that. The thing I'm going to say really, really quick with this, I say we try, while you guys are thinking, I think Telltale games as a cop-out as a genre in your answer.
No.
Right? Because it's easy enough to be like, oh, I want a Stranger Things Telltale game. Like, yeah, everyone wants that. Shut up. Like, let's think about other things. Any TV show or movie that could be turned into a game.
I'm browsing right now. Boogie Nights. Just kidding.
Boogie Nights. Conan. Apocalypse Now.
Stop.
Hey. Apocalypse Now is actually getting turned into a movie.
Maybe like a
game.
Maybe like a 12 Monkeys kind of thing where you travel between the future and the past. You try to change things in your future. You try to solve a mystery type thing of what screwed up the future. I don't know, something like that. Are there really good time travel games where you go back and then maybe you come forward again and see the results?
Is the statute of limitations on spoilers?
Old Zeldas.
Old Zeldas. Titanfall 2 had a time travel section that was awesome.
Yeah.
Day of the Tentacle.
Day of the Tentacle.
Which I played for the first time recently. It was a cool game.
Oh, God, there was something that used something similar. BioShock Infinite has things like that.
Yeah.
It plays with those ideas, but it's not exactly time travel-y, right? I mean, it is, but it isn't. Like, I'm just going to not say anymore.
Oh, I've got one.
What?
Labyrinth. I'm thinking of a genre right now, but I don't know. That would be a cool action adventure with puzzle solving elements, and I don't know how it would work. But has there been a game musical ever? Like a proper musical, like with.
Say a musical again.
A musical. What?
You said it like 4 times.
A musical.
That's a good question. I think there are a lot of games that have music in them, right? Like, my mind jumps back to Conker's Bad Fur Day had a bunch of songs in it, right? But I don't think there's been anything styled like what you're talking about.
That seems like a cool opportunity for I don't know, some kind of almost Witcher 3 shaped RPG where you're roaming the labyrinth, which is sort of an open world in some ways, and you progress through it in maybe a Metroidvania or linear quest like fashion. And you accrue party members, and you can kind of switch out your party members, and they have different abilities, or I don't know.
Carmageddon says Brutal Legend was kind of musical-ish. It was very.
Oh yeah, I love Brutal Legend so much.
Somebody's pointing out Time Splitters is kind of time travel-y. Also, Chrono Trigger, right? Chrono Trigger is a classic that's all about time travel. Just going back to those.
Jules says Kill Bill. I was actually about to think of
Kill Bill game, yeah.
I was going to say that. That'd be great. Whatever that looks like.
There's a lot.
Yeah.
I've been thinking more lately about like comic books because I've been reading a lot of comics. If anybody knows the comic guy Brian K. Vaughan, he's the hotness right now, right?
Yeah.
I want a Saga game. Like Saga, I heard.
What would that look like?
I don't know if this is entirely true, but I heard that Saga was designed partly by Brian K. Vaughan to never be able to be turned into a movie or TV show ever. Like he wanted something that would just stay a comic. But I think that game would work, or that movie or comic would work well as a game, as like a linear story based kind of adventure game.
Yeah, I mean that world is really interesting anyway, so it's like ripe for something, for sure. Sorry, Brian, you tried, but you failed.
They'll turn anything into everything.
Yeah.
All right.
Moby Dick.
Hasmuffins had a question about Conan Exiles. On the thralls / minions you can have in Conan, do you have annoying 12-hour time sync to get them in like in Ark?
You gotta feed them over and over. I don't know. I have yet to do it.
Yeah, I mean, either I haven't advanced in that direction yet in terms of like, I don't know. I guess you're basically making people slaves, right?
Yeah.
It's a bit ironic because you were rescued from. It doesn't matter. No, I haven't tried that yet. I don't know if there's those taming times like Ark has, which are really unless you're on a server that's changed some of those multipliers. They are really disastrous in some cases.
Max Ursa, subscriber, has a question for Hank. Actually, your dog. Max Ursa asks, "Who's a good boy?"
Who's a good boy, Hank? He can't hear you, but who's a good boy? You a good boy?
Oh, he knows.
Good boy confirmed. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
It's Hank, Max Ursa.
He's not that good of a boy.
Oh, okay, never mind. Damn.
Look at that face. He's pretty good.
Exo Child asks, what do you three think about the upcoming Life is Strange 2 game?
I didn't know. Maybe I did know that was announced. Did any of you finish it?
Life is Strange?
Yeah.
No, I never even played it.
Did you play it, Chris? Ever?
I played the demo, but I did not play the whole thing.
I think the writing was like on just a sentence level basis, like pretty awful. But I mean, like it plays with sort of the Telltale formula in interesting ways that I really appreciate because those games are getting very stale to me. And I think I'm on like the end of episode 4, so I've yet to finish it. If I get a lazy Sunday and I don't know what to play, I'll like knock out an episode. And some of the stuff and themes it tackles are really kind of aren't addressed a lot in games, like what young women go through as they're coming of age and finding your identity and like being becoming an artist and your relationships with people and class issues. It does a lot pretty clumsily, but I appreciate it for that. And so I am looking forward to what a refined or different take on that looks like in 2 for sure.
Yeah, there's always that conversation that revolves around games like that where they're like, oh, it's not even a game, right? Like, it's just like story.
Hell with
but
that.
like, I think those conversations are bullshit.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I think I don't really enjoy games like that.
That's fine.
Like, they're just not quite for me.
Fine, yeah. I think it's for people looking for an interesting story that they can sort of feel like they're influencing in meaningful ways.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's nice.
Mutton Bandit asks, which IP would you give to which dev? So I'm going to take this question as like if you could take a game IP and have another game developer make a game in that series, like
We're not qualified to answer these.
I know mine.
What games do I like?
Overwatch to CD Projekt Red. Done.
Huh.
Really?
Yeah. Going for it. Going full in on that.
You talking like RPG Overwatch world?
Yeah,
thing?
I'm talking open world Overwatch.
Fuck, man. I'd get into that.
Maybe I'd give it to BioWare instead from like a more Mass Effect take on it. They have more experience with guns.
Sorry, it's just a weird sentence.
But,
yeah, I don't know. Chris, do you have any ideas?
I'm still thinking, trying to wrap my head around. I don't have any particular. Well, let's see.
I'd give Ark to Funcom.
Get out of town. They already got it. Half-Life 2 to Blizzard. I don't know. Like,
Oh my God, that would be nuts.
I don't know. That's a real open-ended question that nothing like just jumps out at me.
Alex Vance is like super cheery and happy and like colorful.
Since there have been Discworld games, is that considered an IP or is that too old?
Yeah, go for it. No.
Yeah, I would give that. I don't know. I would give that to probably CD Projekt Red or maybe Bethesda. I would love a big open world Discworld game because I love that. I love that world and would love to run around in it.
I'm with you.
Mutton Bandit just says CD Projekt Red take all the games. Cheers.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
The Witcher 3 template would work for a lot, I think.
Give Fallout to Obsidian. That's yeah. There were rumors. Did you guys hear there's rumors of New Vegas 2?
They squashed that though, didn't they?
Yeah, I think so. But someone, Brendan, one of our I believe subs, brought it up in our Discord channel.
I would love another Fallout from Obsidian, though.
Yeah,
I
think everyone would.
Yeah.
All right, let's keep taking questions. Kunifu subscriber asks, James should be made aware that the Sunless Skies Kickstarter is now live if he does not already know.
Oh, it's not just live.
He
4
knows.
hours later,
Yeah.
Funded.
it was funded, which is incredible.
Funded.
I'm so happy.
Give us some background on that, because I don't think everyone knows it's due.
Okay. I don't know the beginning of this world of Fail Better's Fallen London world. I think it was just in the game called Fallen London, which is like this browser-based role-playing game in this kind of neo-Victorian horror universe. Then they just kept adding on to that, did a Kickstarter for a game called Sunless Sea, which I think we reviewed pretty highly, and it came out with an expansion where you troll around this world on a little boat and encounter some really cool islands, and there's a lot of like really great writing. It's got some roguelike elements where you can die and you have to start over, but you can leave like your inheritance to your son if you happen to have a wife. It's got some really interesting stuff going on, and this one is you're in neo-Victorian space, and it's got a more like cosmic horror bend to it, which sounds great to me. Like, I don't know, I want more weird stories in a weird universe, and it seems to be addressing some of the issues, like known issues of the first game, where if you started over, you'd have to repeat a lot of the same stories, and it was a pretty harsh game, so you were gonna die a lot. In this one, the world you leave to your inheritor is this the effects of what you did in that first playthrough will remain in the next playthrough. So you may lose resources, and you may have to like build your ship up again, but if you did something on a planet or an island, whatever they are, whatever they have in this version of the series, it will have that your effects will stay. So in Sunless Sea, I like basically an example would be there were these sentient gerbils and sentient rats at war, and I helped the rats win. If you died and started over, you could readdress that issue, but in this one, your effects will stay. So
That's cool.
There's some cool stuff that they might be able to do with that. I'm really excited.
Phoenix just subscribed. Thank you very much for the support
Yeah.
there. There was a good question that I
Lost.
lost up above because you guys are going too fast.
Sorry.
Not you.
Oh,
Them.
them.
There was a follow-up question from Tagul about the thing I mentioned on CSGO, which is, do you think sports psychologists for FPS games are going to start diagnosing left-click PTSD? I think PTSD is not a sports thing.
No.
But I do think it'll be interesting if we start over the next couple of years getting like Chris, you have to wear a brace for your hand occasionally because of games. Like, I wonder if pro CSGO players are going to start getting diagnosed with like wrist problems and get their own names for stuff like that.
Yeah, like Tommy John surgery kind of thing where they, for baseball pitchers.
Yeah, exactly.
Could be,
exactly
I'm sure.
that.
I mean, I feel like gaming is not doing great things for my body, and I'm not even good at them, let alone the best at them. So,
have you ever seen the position that some people like compete in with shooters like that? I guess it was this thing I believe it was Evan was telling me. It was born out of like the old early days of shooting tournaments where the desk space that they had for these LAN like events was super, super small. So people would play with, I'm going to try to hold this up. I don't know if it has enough cable length, but like instead of holding their keyboard just like straight on, they would have it like sideways.
What?
And they would have their hand like tilted basically so that their keyboard was almost parallel to their mouse.
That's weird.
And it was, people still, even though now, the events are much higher budget and have bigger tables and as much room as you'd need, there are still people who learned that way and play super sideways. And it looks like my wrist would just be screaming if I was playing that way. But I guess it's how they learned. All right. Oh, man, moved so quickly. You guys got to stop asking questions, please. No, that's not true. We have more time, so we are going to take more questions. JBJ Blaze, our longest subscriber, asks, speaking of Overwatch and Minecraft, and then later says, only mentioned those so that you would say Overwatch and Minecraft on the show. We already talked about Overwatch, though. Rather than a dev getting rights to a franchise, what dev do you think would be best to handle the Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them games?
Did you guys see this movie?
If there would be one. I did see that movie, yeah.
I did not.
I thought I was
Is
surprised.
it the Harry Potter thing?
Yeah, it's the continuation of Harry Potter that's going to get like 5 more movies.
Yeah, I liked it a lot. I was surprised I liked it. So what dev should handle that? Is there a
honestly,
game deal? Or is it just like
No, he's saying if there would be one.
Oh,
It's interesting because I actually kind of remember the old Harry Potter movie games fondly.
I liked them.
Yeah, I thought they were fun.
Stuff.
Maybe it's just because I was younger, but like I thought those games were fun. I think it would be cool to make Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them. Like, did anybody play the King Kong game? Back when Peter Jackson's King Kong movie came out?
That could be cool, but hear me out. I'm just going to say one word, and you're going to react.
Please.
Pokemon.
Oh, no. Oh, no. Oh, no.
Your little suitcase full of...
his whole deal was like protecting them. In
Yeah.
Like battle beasts.
Well, you're in a terrible world where these beasts are exploited regularly, and you need to go out like basically a rogue agent and extract them from multiple organizations and collect them all and use them against use the accrued strength of your magical beasts to take on bigger challenges.
I'm sticking with King Kong.
Fuck that. Pokemon.
I thought that game did actually, I really liked the King Kong video game.
That was a cool launch title.
I thought that was a fun game.
Xbox or whatever it was.
Yeah. That's a game that I don't think I have thought about until literally this moment.
It's kind of opening a flood of memories.
Right? Like
freaking me out a little bit.
Jesus. That game was almost as long as the movie was.
But it had some cool ideas.
Yeah. All right, let's grab some more if there are more. Once again, if you still do have a couple questions, we got about 5 more minutes to take questions. So please tag us with that PC Gamer. Max Ursa says the thralls in Conan, you have to feed them, but it takes minutes to convert, not hours.
Oh, that's good.
Which is a nice change. There's some stuff I'm catching up on. People are saying a Jason Bourne game or an asymmetrical Predator game. I believe that was called Evolve, and it did not do well.
Yeah, true.
Hasmuffins, name a game that covers young boys coming of age and what they go through.
I mean, Okay.
Maybe that was out of context.
I think we're talking about Life is Strange.
That probably was with the
Yeah.
context of Life is Strange. Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh,
Pokemon.
Psychonauts.
Pretty good. Pretty good. Yeah.
Okay. Somebody, Jules says he'd give Deus Ex to 4A games, Metro style Deus Ex. That's interesting.
Could be good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see. Give Aliens franchise to Eric Baroni.
I like that.
Says Will over
that's
behind the
good.
camera.
It's good.
My God, that would be something else. Project Mutton Bandit says Project Louisiana isn't Fallout then?
No.
So if you guys didn't hear, Project Louisiana, the thing that Obsidian was teasing, is Pillars of Eternity 2, which got funded in also like
a day. 24 hours.
day.
Yeah.
Which was more than $1 million or was it?
It was like 1.1 million.
Yeah,
but
so
they're allowing for 2 million in investments, and
Yeah.
so we'll see where that
Oh,
goes.
because they were on Fig, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's through Fig.
Yeah. That is excining.
Pillars of Eternity 2 Deadfire is its full title. That's what Project Louisiana was. It's currently at 1,900,000 ish.
It was kind of. I wish they did not choose Louisiana for the project tease, because I think I don't know, a year or two back there was rumors of a Fallout New Orleans, and this from Obsidian, and this I think threw a lot of people off, especially me, because I love the idea of a New Orleans Fallout. But.
Well, let's talk a little bit about Pillars, because we
Let's
didn't
do
talk
it.
about it on the show, and we didn't get a chance to talk about it last week. But is it exciting? Are you guys ready for this? I played basically no Pillars of Eternity. I was like interested in it, but not like crazy about it.
I mostly played as bears. Bears.
You did a whole
it's-
article where
it's-
you tried to play the whole game as bears.
Yeah, I didn't play much of the game. I don't really get into games where I have to lead a whole party of AI NPCs. I don't know. I just find that kind of exhausting to deal with all their inventories and attack styles and stuff. I like kind of just playing as. I like my companions, if they're AI, to make their own decisions for the most part. But I enjoyed a lot of what I played, and I think it's great. I think it's great they're making another one.
I kind of bounced off it because it's more of a traditional fantasy world than what I'm interested in. But I think in the pitch video, Josh Sawyer, who's like one of the lead designers and writers on these games, he mentioned something that totally piqued my interest and got me back into it, is that they want to cut filler combat sequences and make it meaningful and allow for more and longer stretches of the game where you're just interacting with people and going through big story chunks, which to me is exciting because the combat in those games is like, it does feel like filler, and it's like the least interesting thing and the most tedious and micromanagey of part of those games, and I just bounce off that bit. But if I'm like role playing characters and interacting and it's good writing, and there's more of that, yeah, please.
Here's a good question for James from Jules. What band or musician would you like to see tackle a video game soundtrack?
Maybe The Body. The Body. Okay. Yeah.
I thought that TB on your shirt was Total Biscuit.
No, fuck, no.
Ouch.
I'm sorry. It's not my guy. He's not my guy. But it's that's a good question. What about you guys? You guys have?
I already got my wish.
What is it?
Anamanaguchi for the Scott
Anamanaguchi,
Pilgrim game
classic.
is like one of my favorite soundtracks ever.
Yeah.
I'd like to see, after Daft Punk did such a good job with the Tron movie soundtrack, I think it'd be good with a game soundtrack.
Yeah. I don't know.
I'm like, I don't know, Electric People.
I'm like huge into music, so there's a million thoughts in my head at once, and I can't really settle on one.
Another one I'd like to see maybe is a band called Something a la Mode.
Something a la Mode.
I really like them, and they are kind of like electronic with violins, and I think that would make a really cool soundtrack for the right game.
I don't know. I do actually think The Body, now that I think about it, is because they experiment with some digital stuff, and they're all about soundscapes and mood and so on. Maybe something like, with No Man's Sky, we saw 65 Days of Static put out a pretty good soundtrack. It'd be cool to see like explosions in the sky or some other post-rock or Mogwai or someone do something but I'm that kind of guy anyway. So, yeah.
I go with Brad Sucks, and he also plays a lot of games.
Brad Sucks. Is that a band?
That's a band.
Oh, check him out.
I think it might just be the one guy, but I guarantee you've heard some of it.
What about the Eagles? They still doing stuff?
You want the Eagles to do a video game soundtrack?
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
No. On that lowest of low notes, we are out of time, so I apologize. There were some more subscriber questions that I couldn't get to, but I appreciate all of you guys asking. Evan Lottie, that dude who, kind of is in charge of our site, just subscribed, so thank you. But
thanks, Evan.
Took a while. I think as soon as I said the Eagles, he knew.
he knew that was his moment. Well, thank you very much, guys. We are done for today. We're going to be back at the same time every week, twitch.tv/PCGamer, Wednesdays, 1 p.m. Pacific time. You're always welcome to come back and join us, or watch on youtube.com/PCGamer, or comment or listen to the audio at PCGamer.com/podcast, or on iTunes, or wherever, or send us feedback at tom@PCGamer.com, or join our Discord channel at discord.gg/PCGamer. There's a lot of different places you can get in touch, so if you'd like to, we'd love to hear from you. So thank you very, very much, and we will see you next week.